Welcome to our lecture on the overview of operational management. We've, over the last couple weeks, talked about what it takes to be an entrepreneur. We also had a video that you watched about the top mistakes of an entrepreneur and trying to discover whether or not being an entrepreneur is something that you want. We also, in several of the lectures, talked about that, and we focused on independent pharmacy. But in the future lectures, we're going to talk about that it doesn't necessarily have to be the way a traditional future pharmacy looks like, but the death of the small business is far from over. And those are things that you have to start thinking to yourself, what are the things that would make my business unique? What are the characteristics that I have within me that can make my business successful? Because pharmacy is changing. Although we are still heavily in the community pharmacy world, a distribution type of business, there are many businesses out there that are popping up, both focusing on inpatient care, outpatient care, home health, but all of these have one common goal. They are emphasizing more on how to improve quality in healthcare. They realize how they will be paid will be different. It'll be more on a value-based payment, whether you're paid as a consultant, whether you have the ability as a business to bill alternatively. There's many options for you to be successful. The other key will be in how do you network to become into preferred networks with other healthcare systems, other healthcare providers. And the key for a successful pharmacy today is providing excellent service, convenience, access, and helping improve health outcomes and lowering overall healthcare costs. And you've heard me say before that as long as your business is providing value in the 10 next year, you'll be fine. We've already seen this grow, and I'm going to just refer to the independent pharmacy world through the growth of immunizations, adherence programs, and different types of medication therapy management services. And why have you decided to go on to do this business? Well, you're looking for a job that's going to provide security. Although starting your own business may not initially seem like a secure job, but as long as you plan, are successful, there's opportunities. We've also talked about that initially you will live and work like most people won't. However, you will receive not only a personal satisfaction role, but a financial role, not just for yourself, but for the employees that you hope to employ. This is a time, too, that you can practice your own way. Although pharmacy is heavily regulated, just like any other healthcare business, you also have the ability, though, to pivot, to change what you need to do to survive. Another one, and I read this in several of your people's reflections, is this is an opportunity to give back to a community, to give back to, an area that you love, to be a member of that community. This is an opportunity by having your own business that you may be able to grow and may have several different types of businesses that focus on different aspects of healthcare. The key thing is you see the results of your actions and your decisions. What we also will be focusing on a little bit this semester, but more on next semester, is that you will be involved in writing a business plan. This semester, we are going to learn different aspects of what it takes to own your own business, but I'd like you to begin thinking to yourself, what are some reasons that my idea for a business idea is what I want to do? What are the reasons, of what I would like to provide? Where would I like to provide? This is an opportunity to start to explore. Maybe your business is where you live right now, but maybe you have a dream of going somewhere else. Over the years I've taught this course, many people, when they've identified what business they would like to do, they use this opportunity to also learn of different locations that they would like to establish their business. We're going to talk about organizational structure. We're going to talk about strategic planning. And these are the key components to be able to have a successful business. Obviously, we will talk about financials and all the other key aspects that go in. Because there's numerous things that takes to starting your own pharmacy business. It is finding the right location. It's negotiating whether you're purchasing your own building, building your own building, or just negotiating a lease. It's knowing the opportunities you need to do to get into purchasing, contracts, and it doesn't even matter if it's just not a traditional independent pharmacy. There's numerous different licenses, getting certified that may need to be needed. And we'll talk about those different components as we go on. But what I wanted to for this small lecture, and we're going to have this lecture this week, as I said in my email, along with a couple other lectures that I'm going to post this week, is I want you to think about operational management. Because a lot of you may initially, or classmates that are going to go more into a corporate type of business. Whether it's an outpatient pharmacy or an an inpatient pharmacy, you're going to start out just by being a pharmacist. However, if you don't own your own business, the way that you may want to see yourself progress is maybe you want to be a manager, a director. You want to maybe move up in the company. And those are reasons you may do that because you like to be a leader. You like to solve problems. You like to work with other people to help solve problems. But if you look to the left here of a traditional type of business, you have a board of directors, a CEO, a chief operating officer, a chief financial officer, presidents and vice presidents, director and manager. The reason why I have that picture there is when you initially start your own business, unless you are extremely wealthy and already had a ton of capital given to you, you yourself will play a role in every one of those titles. You will be the title. You will be the owner, the chief executive officer, and probably for some time the chief financial officer, director, and manager. So you need to start thinking to yourself, or you start thinking about what type of business that you would want to be involved in, own, that these are the responsibilities that come in owning your own business. However, these responsibilities are also things that you may already encounter in other businesses that you work for. So we're going to look at operational structure because we're going to talk about different things in owning your own business, but the operational structure is a key component. There's also, the financial side, the planning side, which is the strategic planning side, but operational structure is a process. It involves that you may be looking at how to design your business location, the facility that actually resides your business, how the business operates every day from a workflow consideration, what are the personal requirements for people that you hire to work in your business, how do you meet the high demands of the goals that you want your business to be able to deliver to your customer, whether it's patients, healthcare professionals that you're servicing. And you will also be involved in the development of the policies and procedures to deliver this business. In addition, in the pharmacy world and the healthcare world, there are times that what you want to do may not always be the way you can do it due to regulatory issues and quality requirements. So, the primary role of whatever pharmacy business you want, you need to think to yourself, what do the patients want? What do my customers want? So as you start to explore, and when we have our go-to meeting next week, I will be a little bit more detail of this, is you want to start thinking to yourself, what is the business I want? This is the time next week and the week beyond, you'll actually be able to dream, what do you want? What would you envision? Begin with the end in mind that your pharmacy business looks like. What is the idea that you want for your successful pharmacy business? Because once you then decide this is what I want to do, then you have to start researching from different aspects. One, is it a financially viable thing? And how do I make it financially viable? Two, to be financially viable, what is the operational structure and process that will occur in my business on an everyday business for it to succeed? Because there is a famous business professor and researcher from the mid 60s to the late 70s, Peter Drucker. And Peter Drucker's one initial rule for business is that the idea of a business exists to serve society. A company should focus on serving its customers, and profits are simply a required resource for the company to continue to serve society. The businesses that our course this semester and next is encouraging is business that is in healthcare, business that is pharmacy related. So you think to yourself, there's numerous types of businesses. There's the traditional community pharmacy, which we will use as a template, because many of you, that might be the avenue you want to go down. But even if that is the business you want to do, what is your niche that you offer to your customers to help them solve problems and make themselves feel good? The other thing is, your business in pharmacy can be numerous types of businesses. You may have a new software idea and your business is focused on pharmacy software. You may have a new way a clinical service can be delivered, and maybe you do consulting work or you offer some type of business that you could sell to other pharmacies to use. So you need to think to yourself, what is the idea of my business and how does it serve society? And from there, we can begin building on operational structure and process. There's also in the operational structure and process, which you will this semester, to understand the financials. And the people that work for you need to understand those financials first. Because think to yourself, would a pharmacist work for a pharmacy and minimum wage to take care of patients? For example, if a wage was $10 an hour, a full-time pharmacist working, for a whole year would make about $20,000 per year. Now think about when you graduate, and I might be underestimating this. You have student loans in the hundreds of thousands. You have to pay back, usually in these loans, somewhere around 6 to 8% interest, and that will cost you an additional 14,900. If you just do the math, that would lead that a pharmacist making minimum wage with less than $500 a month to live on, because you're also paying additionally your loans. So whatever business that you are creating, you have to think to yourself that although you want your business to solve a problem, take care of people, that business has to be financially viable enough to be able to give you an income worthy of your hard work and sweat, and also the ability to figure out what are fair wages to pay my professional workers, my assistant workers, my clerks, my delivery drivers, whatever your business looks like. And we will explore that when we do financial analysis. But that is an important thing to understand. It doesn't matter whatever the business, even if the business is a nonprofit business, that nonprofit business goal is to be able to be in the black on a financial profit and loss statement and not in the red. There are economic and financial realities to any business and any profession. Your business will have a mission for itself and a mission for the customers that it wants to serve or the community it wants to serve. But you need to be able to be a good operator of the business to provide income to the business itself and to the workers that you have. There, in the community pharmacy world, the independent pharmacy world, or even the chain world, there was a study done several years ago, and it looked at what does it take to operate the business every day. And what it showed that a pharmacy to be profitable, just to be able to keep its doors open, to pay its, pharmacists, its staff, its expenses, you needed to make about $10.55, per prescription. Now, I'll explain later when we do third parties and also talk about finances that average is sometimes difficult, but there are different ways to obtain it. So you have to think to yourself, too, whatever business I'm developing, what is the financial basis of income that I need for the business to be viable? This is a key thing when we're planning operational structure and process. Because understanding the basics of an income statement, which we will explore more throughout the semester, is that whatever service you're providing, you're going to get paid for that service. And that is going to be a sale, whether that's a product, a clinical service, a consulting service, or whether you're selling software or hardware. There is a sale. Depending upon what you do, you may have a cost of goods. So, for example, if I am an independent pharmacy filling prescriptions, my cost of good would be my inventory. And whatever I get paid versus what I purchased it for is my gross profit. And that gross profit then has to be able to cover your operating expenses, which can include payroll, expenses like the lights, licenses you pay for the business itself, for the software that you use, and also the other things that, go on in keeping a business open. All businesses here, if they operate in the United States of America, have to pay taxes. And whatever the net income is what your financial reward that you've gotten for being that owner and developing operational procedures. And then also you always want some of that income to go back into the business to allow it to grow. It is the role that you will hold as an operational manager of your business that in any business you need to initially make sure that business is smooth functioning to achieve both its public and private mission. And this will include that initially, although you'll be the boss, the CEO, the chief financing officer, and there are going to be many times you're going to need to spend working on your business, not necessarily in the business, you still have to be there on a day-to-day operations. Because the manager in any type of public service institution faces the same tasks as any manager in a business. You need to perform the function for the sake of which the institution exists, to make the work productive and the workers achieving production, to manage the institution's social impacts, and to discharge its social responsibilities. If you look at a business like a restaurant, an independent restaurant, most independent restaurants that are successful have the owners working within that restaurant. They may not necessarily be the cook, the bartender, the waiter, or the waitress, but that person is there to make sure that those employees are carrying out what operations need to be done to be successful. An operations manager, which initially may be you, which will probably be you, also will need to understand why your business exists. And so someday you will hire an operations manager to assist you. But they need to know your vision, your mission, your goals of the organization to direct the workforce. The management structure of an organization requires multiple roles to be played. So, you will have the title of yourself as Chief Executive Officer. What does your title as this do? It is your responsibility to direct the strategic planning of the organization. So, what do you hope to achieve this year in your business? What do you hope to achieve in the next 5 years of your business? What do you hope the society, the healthcare partners, the patients that you want to use your business, what does that look like? You'll hold the title as Chief Financial Officer. You'll have to make budgets. You'll have to have financing activities. Now, I will say this in future lectures, you will have assistants. You will have to hire a CPA, certified public accountant, to help you plan your business. But you will be making a lot of these financial decisions along with what your CPA, and maybe someday you do have your own CFO. And then finally, the Chief Operating Officer. And they are responsible for the day-to-day procedures that happen in your pharmacy business and making sure that the day-to-day procedures are being carried out in a successful way, and also in a way that we are controlling our own internal costs to make sure that we are profitable enough to meet our mission and goals that we laid out. At the most basic level, when you are the Chief Operating Officer or just an operation manager at one location, you need to decide what must be done right now, who needs to be doing it, what resources do they need, and when will the work be finished. You're also going to be involved in the decision making of designing the goods and service, the process strategies, how do we evaluate quality, location strategies, the human resources, how do we lead other people that work for us, overviewing scheduling or doing the scheduling, making sure we're getting the supplies we need to be able to deliver to our customers, and also making sure the computers, the equipment that we use is in working order. The goals for a pharmacy manager change on a day-to-day basis, on a year-to-year basis. But the goals for a pharmacy manager should look at improving speed and efficiency of a patient service. How do we be able to offer more services to a patient if we're not efficient of what we do already? Creating and maintaining a collegial work environment for employees, leading employees to be successful at the top of their game, which we'll also talk about in our human resource lecture later this semester. And providing the knowledge that your healthcare team needs to understand what their role in the business is to be successful. So, think to yourself as you are trying to identify what business you would like, things that you'll need to research. How does my business differ from other businesses in providing speed and efficiency for good customer service? What are the services that I can offer to my customers, to my patients, that makes me unique? That maybe they are the same type of services that other businesses offer, but what does my services provide that are, better, and why they would choose to use my business over another? How can I then be able to be successful at hiring the right workers with the right skills to be able to provide my service? And finally, how can I always continuously provide knowledge to my healthcare team so that we can deliver out our goals to be obtained for our business? There's different theories of how we can do this, but always as an operational manager, you're going to be defining, measuring, analyzing, improving, and controlling all the operations that go on in your business. So, another key thing that an operational manager does is how do you engage the employees that you must lead? Your employees need to understand, what do I get besides just being paid? What do I give? What is the things that I need to do to deliver to our customer? Do I belong? How does the employee engage and realize what their role is, what their role is as the team? And then also, too, how do you offer the opportunity for your employee to grow in their current role or perhaps move into more advanced roles within your business? So, summary: the daily work of an operation manager is the first title that you will have as owning your own business. And this might be something initially later that you will pass on and hire somebody to carry out your tasks as you hold those other roles of CEO and CFO. But the operation manager needs to make sure that tasks are done right, tasks are done in a timely fashion, they're consistent with the values of the organization in a way that creates long-term value for all the stakeholders in the business. Because a good operation manager is the person, the boots on the ground. And if those things can be delivered well, the business will continue to grow and to thrive. But think to yourself, I leave you this question: what do you think are the challenges of the future in a pharmacy business? It involves many different people, patients, customers, and different healthcare entities. So this is the first lecture in understanding what it takes to have your own business. So we will talk more about this when we meet in person and in groups, but start to think to yourself your ideas of what you want in a business, and start to think to yourself, how would that business operate as you move on? Thank you very much, and I will be talking to you in future lectures.